Thanks so much for joining us. Wherever you are in the world, we really appreciate your time today. Today is the first in a new series that we're starting on the customer journey. So we're really happy to have you with us. Again, I'm Danny Torbett. Venetia is here with us from our senior sales engineering staff. Couple of plugs before we get going. We've got a training event coming up January 23rd through the 25th in Miami. It's a 3-day event, training event. We have a beginner track for those new to Decisions who are exploring the Decisions platform, and a master class for those with experience, as well as a partner track for some of our channel partners. So you can sign up on our website. So go to decisions.com/events. Sign up. We'd love to have you there. No better way to get to know us as a business in the platform is actually getting together with our engineers and founders and architects and developers and getting your hands on the platform. We'd love to see you there. And January in Florida, pretty sweet. Upcoming webinars. We have another one tomorrow. We're very busy and we love webinars. Tomorrow will be part of our Accelerating Your Use Cases track on ticketing systems. So the same time tomorrow, 1 to 2 Eastern Time US, go to decisions.com to register. And then the second in the series that we're beginning today is automating customer onboarding with ChatGPT. And that will be on Thursday, January the 11th from 1 to 2 Eastern. A quick preview of the series that we're beginning today on the 14th around requirements discovery. Some really interesting sessions coming up on onboarding customers using ChatGPT, how to prepare for interactions with your customers using call preparation, leveraging AI. So just a preview of the series that's up and coming. We'd love to see you there. In case you missed it, we have put out a series of other webinars on our generative AI powered use cases. I'm a visual learner and these have been a real help to me. So you can check out each on our videos page at decisions.com/video. But if you're a reader, we also have put out a really interesting white paper on automating business processes, leveraging large language models, AI. And you can get to that one at decisions.com/solutions/AI orchestration to download that one. Little housekeeping, we're going to save some time for Q&A at the end, but you don't have to wait to ask questions. Please feel free to use the Q&A or chat functions in Zoom to submit questions as we're going through the presentation. We'll seek to answer them as they come in. And also, please let us know in the chat if there are any use cases you'd like to explore in future webinars. Is there a use case you'd like us to demonstrate? Just let us know. We'll make it happen. Brief agenda for what we're going to cover here today. First, I'm going to describe the Decisions platform to you. Decisions is a no-code software application development platform to automate all the manual, tedious processes in businesses. Then we'll talk a little bit about the learnings that we've had dealing with our customers as they've come to us with use cases around AI. And then we'll preview the Decisions OpenAI module that we've added to the platform as we dive into the requirements discovery portion of the demonstration, and we actually demonstrate that to you. And of course, we'll finish up with questions. So what is Decisions? Decisions is a no-code application development platform that gives business people the tools to fix their own problems. It comes with a rules engine, a workflow engine, and an integration builder. And at our core, our value is that we give you the tools to build complex software quickly, without writing any code, without an army of software engineers. So over here to the left, you'll see there are 3 main automation patterns that we fulfill. And the first one is a pure business rules or decisioning application. Our rules engine gives you a place to centralize the logic for any process and then expose that logic to business users to edit and maintain using graphical design tools. It gets the logic out of stored procedures, web pages, or custom code and puts it in a place where you can easily change it and maintain it without jumping into the code. It's an enterprise class rules engine that's capable of millions of transactions a day across thousands of rules in areas like medical claims processing, insurance underwriting, and mortgage processing. For example, Roche Genentech were formatting and enhancing clinical trial lab data across all of their global trials. The next use case is what we call extend and expand. It's very common when we work with a customer that they already have some major out-of-the-box projects that need to be part of their automation solution. This could be their CRM, their ERP systems, or databases, or other products that are built to handle a part of the process. Decisions is designed to integrate with these existing out-of-the-box solutions and automate the special processes that these systems don't do well. Things like special pricing, packaging, shipping, human-in-the-loop approval processes, things like that. There are several ways to integrate your existing systems with the Decisions platform. We have several out-of-the-box integrations, like some of the ones that are listed here. It's all, I believe, 70 or so at this point. But more importantly, you can connect to any modern platform that has an API. And most modern systems are API friendly these days. If you have a specific system that you're wondering about, let me know in the chat and I'll follow up during the demonstration. Taking the previous example a step further, we often act as an orchestration layer between different applications. If you have several applications that your users have data in, you can use Decisions as kind of a middleware to bring data in from one application, trigger an activity for another user in another application, and populate an outcome in yet another. Our most common use case is to act as an orchestration layer between various software applications or services, and then engage end users in workflows across application boundaries. Integrity Life, for instance, they're listed here. They use Decisions to integrate with their CRM system and their policy administration and accounting systems. And from there, they built their entire claims processing application on Decisions. One final plug before I hand it off to Venetia to jump into the lessons learned from our AI focused customers. One last plug. If any of this interests you at all, please sign up for a demo on our website or email us at sales@decisions.com. We'd love to connect you with one of our engineers, and we'll spend an hour showing you how you can use this no-code software development platform to build automations and applications. Venetia is going to dive into it a little bit here today. You'll see under the hood, but it's best to do it on a demo, one-on-one, where you can ask as many questions as you like and take it in any direction that you like so it's relevant to you. Venetia, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you now. Are you ready?
Okay, awesome. So let's just take from here. So for the last 1 year, every one of us have been talking around generative AI, and I don't want to start from there where we started this year. But just to summarize or highlight on things, how we can leverage OpenAI as well as this generative AI, there are a lot of opportunities around the businesses saying that the revenue opportunities around your processes, or it can be a cost opportunities analytics that you would like to run through using the generative AI, or it can be a risk opportunities as well that you can just analyze these things around. But now comes the bigger picture. Like, we do have a generative AI. What Decisions brings on top of the table? It's very important and crucial for every process to monitor what information that we are trying to send in. Maybe what type of systems are we trying to connect? It can be the orchestration and layer where you would like to see the decisions acting upon, or it can be audit and managing those logs that comes through or goes through those each one of those generative AIs. So there are a lot of things where Decisions adds on top of this, where you can completely monitor and take leverage on, or maybe you can just automate some things. Like, for example, if you would like to analyze some things and do it as a repetitive task, that's when the power of automation engine comes in and decisions comes into picture. And now speaking about the open AI module in decisions. So if you are new to decisions, or if you have already been using decisions, I would like to just reiterate on these things that we do have a lot of modules which comes as a pre-built connectors, and OpenAI is one out of them. So we can talk around this and see how we can install these things in decisions while we get into the platform. But nevertheless, just keep in mind that we have a module and you can quickly install and take leverage of that. So here comes the interesting part, the topic of the today, requirements discovery. What's actually a requirements discovery? So imagine for a second, like you might be taking a lot of requirements, may it be from your team members or may it be from your customers. If you are someone like me or Danny, who loves to be on calls with customers on daily basis, we do have a lot of questions that we would like to pose to the customers and also get information back from them. So these are very crucial and important information that we need to keep a track of and put it in a document it in a structured way. So it can be any type of.
Yeah, before becoming the analyst relations manager for our company, I was an account executive. So in our typical sales process, Venetia and I would meet with our potential customers, and I would ask them a zillion questions, talking too much, going too fast, typically, and gathering all those requirements. Writing notes while I'm having these conversations was really a problem for me. I'm old. My memory wasn't as great. So we wanted to figure out how we could leverage the technology to make requirements gathering easier and more concise, and then be able to run analytics against those, against all of that data. So that's kind of where I used it in my daily life as an account executive at our company. Sorry, I didn't mean to hijack, just for context.
No, Danny, thank you so much. And adding on top of that, I would keep or lose a track of detailing this information back to my team members. So there might be multiple calls that I've been part of, and I might miss transferring those knowledge sessions to my team members who are then going to be working with those customers or maybe working on those projects. So it's quite important to document these things and well structure these things and have an analysis around those data. So, and this data can be residing in different parts of the world. So that's what we would be seeing, how we can actually use decisions to leverage different systems that we use internally inside our organizations and pull those data, run analysis, and document it in a way that is completely trackable and also can be passed along. So here is what we are going to talk through today. The webinar intends to act like a salesperson. Like I love sales and Danny loves sales. So we took an example of a customer journey where we would like to extract information from tools like CRM. So Salesforce is just one example, but you can have your own CRM tools where you store all of this data. And we can pull information from those CRM tools, as well as systems like Gong, where your call recordings or maybe any other information is residing, or it can be a Snowflake data warehouse, which we are connecting over here today as well. So combining all these things.
Just to give you well, I'm keep interrupting, but this is important. Gong, for those of you who don't know, is a platform that we use to record our calls. And what it does, it builds a transcript of everything that's said during the call, but it also grabs really critical information, especially when you're trying to get information on a new opportunity. Things like who talks the longest, what things like intention and impressions were so far as the basis of the conversation. All things are really critical in building a new opportunity as a salesperson.
Right.
Thank you.
So thank you, Danny. So how do we leverage the orchestration layer and connect all these systems which are in silos and bring those information together and run into an analysis so that we can analyze or make sense out of those data, which is more in a readable format, as well as gives a synopsis or summary to our users. So that's what the process is over here. Getting that information, running, importing those models and filtering those information, because there are certain type of secured information that you would like to keep it not sending through ChatGPT, but you want to segregate those data. So that's where the power of rule engine would come in, and we would then send information to ChatGPT or any OpenAI module and filter back those results and document it and send an email or maybe update it back onto the Salesforce, CRM tools like Salesforce. So with that, let's deep dive into the demo. A lot of slides, I know. And now I would promise we would just see what's happening inside decisions. So again, I would like to start from here where the magic happens and give you a quick overview of the modules and how you can install that. That's where we actually began, right? So if you're new to decisions, this is the side where everything happens. Creating those projects, making those connections to the Salesforce or maybe Snowflake, all those things happen in this side of the world. And we can talk around this a lot. You can schedule a demo with us by contacting our sales team, and we would be more than happy to explain detail about the platform. But now let me just take you into those modules, and you can see I have already installed an OpenAI module. So you can quickly click on any of these modules and select install, and you can install those at any point of time. So as you see, we have different other modules as well, in addition to the OpenAI. With that, let me just get into the requirements, the topic of today. The requirements.
I can't believe they didn't change my my profile picture here. That's embarrassing. I ride bikes, everybody. That's embarrassing. We're going to change
everyone. No, we wanted to know everyone that how much you love riding a bike. So I made sure that, Danny.
That's funny.
So here is the one that page, the front end that you see over here is again created in decisions, but don't worry, you can have these things being running in your systems where your current user interface is existing. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and click this little button over here. So what it does is, it is a manual trigger saying that, hey, I have tried to perform some action, and now this action is running behind the scenes to connect to Snowflake, the data warehouse, and also get information from different sources like Salesforce. So over here, you can see I'm in my Salesforce account, and here is a test opportunity that I would like to talk through today. So I would be just running certain information over here. And you can see I am very bad at updating this information. And how do I automate these things? But like, for example, I work on the POC side of the world, and you can see as a sales engineer, I haven't updated most of this. So let's see how we can actually push information into this instances and also get information from Salesforce into our system. So with that, now you can see we have a beautiful form, but instead of triggering these manually, I just wanted to highlight you can also trigger these as an automatic process, which means if you have added a new customer in your CRM, this process can be automatically triggered. Or if you had a new call being recorded in an external system and added in your data warehouse, you can technically go ahead and do that. And now here is the thing. So you can see it had a list of information, all those thousands of records in my CRM, and I can just pick that information here. Being a sales engineer, I would love to go ahead and pick a call that I would like to analyze so that I can just share this information or insights to my team members. And now here comes the magic. We just clicked on submit, and what happens behind the scenes is we are trying to send the information to analyze through ChatGPT. And it's not just that. We are trying to filter all the information that is completely PII sensitive and exclude that to send through ChatGPT. We completely understand and respect your privacy. So we would be only sending information in a bits and pieces that would make more context as well as relevant to get those summary information back from OpenAI module. And if you are anyone like me who has been struggling or like who has been indulged using ChatGPT for the last couple of months, you would know that ChatGPT is typing something, like it's trying to process the information behind the scenes while the screen just says that.
Why is it taking so long, Phoenicia? What's going on in the background here? This is making me nervous.
Oh, that's a good, Danny. I would like to check with you, like, have you asked any question with ChatGPT in the last couple of days or previously any time?
I have, but I have to admit, I'm not really all that well versed in AI.
Great. So what it does is when we send information to ChatGPT, and now it takes certain time for ChatGPT to process those information and also look through what we have requested it to get through. So it's ChatGPT analyzing this. This is a data model running behind the scenes, and there we go. ChatGPT is now good enough to give us back the results.
Gotcha. How many calls was that? They're called calls, right? When you're asking a question.
So it's all about the prompts. So you can make multiple calls to ChatGPT, but to be more efficient, that's where the power of rules engine comes in, as well as how you orchestrate your workflows. So what happened behind the scenes is I just created a limited number of prompts so that I can make only a single call with ChatGPT such that it analyzes the information once and gives me the results back in the way that I want to have it.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No
Learning
problem.
all the time from you.
That's a great questions, by the way. And as you see, I have asked ChatGPT to give me information which would be more info. I don't need to review a call to get all this information. I wanted to know which account are we dealing with. So you can see this is a test opportunity account. And I can just click on these and it would redirect us to the Salesforce instance as well. And you can see the information and you can completely customize it in the way that you wanted to format it. But the highlight is based upon that call information, you can see there is a meeting summary that has been extracted out. So you might be wondering, like, Venetia, you don't have any information sitting in your Salesforce, right? How are you able to pull this info? That's where the magic of decisions happen. I do have Salesforce, which is not completely updated, but I have a Gong where my calls related to these opportunities are being stored. And all of this gets saved in a bigger world, which is a Snowflake data warehouse. So now with respect to this particular opportunity ID, a unique ID, I'm trying to pull information. That's where decisions magic happens, saying that, hey, look through, filter me this info and summarize me this information so I can update it back. And you can see we have this is more about discussion around a student loan entitlement process. The call was about that. And the summary revolved around this. And then there was a potential use case that the client actually wanted us to talk around and build a proof of concept. I live in the world of proof of concepts. And you can see I wanted to get that insight. So here is the possible scenario that was discussed. And you can see there is integrations that were discussed. And the next steps, you can see it has clearly outlined those next steps for us based upon the call insights. And this is where I love about using decisions with ChatGPT. So this one also identified the strengths as well as areas of improvements. So which means you can see like which part is Venetia strong around and which areas Venetia should need keep working around and have a complete visibility and train her like a skills matrix or rate around these things.
My boss uses this to tell me that I talk too much usually.
Same boat as you are, Danny. Same boat. I'm on the same boat. But that's where the actual power is. You're not just running analytics, but you're going to store this and make complete leverage, saying that how can you make this more efficient and also keep a track of all of these things. And here is where this beauty lies in. So these were the questions asked. So now you can see in a regular transcripts or a summary, you would just get a quick summary of the process. But now I have asked like, hey, here is my product. And I would like to see if these questions are being asked by the sales rep or the individual so that I can keep a track of those questions. And or if it has not been, if it has been already asked, I don't want to repeat the same question in my next call. Right? And you can see there is a sentiment analysis as well going through. So I can download a file out of this one, which means you can see there is a PDF document that gets created exactly in the similar fashion of this one, which I would be more than happy to just give you a glimpse. Here is the document. So all happened behind the scenes, having the information around those meetings, etc. And it has been generated in decisions. And now when I click on send email, I can notify all those information to the users. May it be an email notification, which would be right in my inbox. So you can just see this right in my inbox, having that information around those opportunities and get notified to all the stakeholders involved in the process. And the beauty is we have updated the Salesforce too. I don't need to manually update it again with the use case info. So if I just scroll down and you can see, there we go. I only wanted to update it with POC use case, and you can see that problem summary is right over there. And I know I have been doing a lot of talking, and now it's the time to answer some Q&A or just take a pause and understand more around the process.
Let me go ahead and say how much this has made my life so much easier as an account executive in my former role. Keeping track of all of this stuff in a complex opportunity is a real challenge. And you know what the paradigm here is, by focusing less on the tedium and manual stuff that's part of my job, I'm able to focus more on innovative ways to help close those opportunities. Really is kind of the basis there. We do have some great questions in chat. Is it okay if I ask you a couple, Venetia?
Absolutely, Danny. Go ahead, sir. And
Cool.
I see that.
Paul had a great question. How does it know what call is about what topic? Is that from the metadata of the appointment? Is it based on the analysis of every call in the system?
That's a great question. It's all from the metadata, and then we are running through some insights saying that, hey, look for this particular field or aspect in the metadata to filter out what I am asking it to look for. So it's all about receiving those metadata and running the rule engine to look for that exact match of what we are asking it to analyze for.
Excellent. Excellent. Shivaji has a question as well. For this use case, was this a pre-trained model to recognize the call content? And were the prompts trained to the audio calls?
That's a great question. So we tried to create these prompts. It's not, we started it from scratch. So it took us almost 2 business days while I was also trying to build other projects simultaneously. So it was all created from scratch. And these prompts are something more generic where I wanted the system to understand the data that I'm sending in and give the output in such a way based upon the prompt response that I send in.
Excellent.
And we are just sending the transcript, and it's not an audio call recording or a audio link that we send in. It would be a transcript with the text data, all through text data, so that ChatGPT can analyze that data.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Tyler, did you want to chime in there? My bad. Excuse me. So Paul had another great question. Is there a timeout concerned based on the volume of data that's getting handed over to ChatGPT? And his question goes on further to say, like, a short 30-minute call might not be that big of a deal. But what if we're in, one of those 3-hour slog down in the weeds, whiteboarding requirements type calls that's going to be like a huge amount of data? What's that look like?
That's a great question, Paul. Glad that you put that in the forum. That's a common concern, right? This call over here that I sent was an hour call, but in real world scenario, there can be like 3-hour calls. So that's where the power of rules engine and workflow engine comes in. So you can just, when there is a timeout error, there is a way that in decisions, you would see there is an exception catching. So which means like if there is a timeout, then I would like to say, send again a response to ChatGPT saying that, hey, you have looked through the information until what it has analyzed and send another information back saying that now start the process from here because there was a timeout error. Or you can just move it to a different direction saying that parse this information into bits and pieces so that I don't receive a timeout error when sending this data in bulk, or maybe you can just break it down to chunks. So you never see that timeout issues.
Excellent. Excellent. Paul, you've got all the questions, and I love that. Does the process pick up on conflicting requirements that might be given in the same or different sessions?
Sorry, can you just repeat that question, Danny?
Sure, and maybe Tyler can chime in on this one too. Does the process pick up on conflicting requirements that might be given in the same or different sessions? So, one of the things that I always get dinged on from my boss after looking through this analysis is asking the same question over and over again in different calls, right? And how does the process identify those and mitigate them around? Does that?
Yeah, that makes sense. So a lot of times what will happen is this is just the first thing is what we'll do with topics, like different sections of the requirements, and send the highlights of that section. So then you can determine, what highlights, you see the problem statement at the high level, but then you might be a section based on one topic. And you pull the sediment of that one topic, then the sediment of the next topic. And then you determine, that's where you work the client to say, okay, this is all the topics we got, this is all the high level we got requirements, which one's higher?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you still have the human in the loop with decisions to say, okay, which one's higher, and use that type of human intelligence to do that.
Excellent. Thanks, Tyler. Paul, I know you have to wait your turn on this one. Alan's got a question now. Alan asks, can you specify what questions you want to interrogate? So, for instance, the standard operating procedure is to ask 50 questions. Can the transcript evaluation look for whether the 50 questions were covered?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So you can have n number of questions being put together and just ask the transcript saying that, look into those transcript if those questions were asked or not. So for this one, for the scoping calls, we just had a similar scenario where I wanted to look for 4 questions, the predominant ones, because I already had a summary and also talked around integrations. But in real world scenario, it can be 50, it can be 100. It can do all of that and put together a different document with those set of questions being answered, looked for, and send you information from there.
Excellent. Excellent. Shreyas, and I apologize if I butchered your name there, has a question. Is the efficiency of the platform how the prompts are configured, or does the platform itself have any inbuilt intelligence to scrub the transcript feed and build some meaningful use cases? Kind of a complicated question, right? So does it have, can you build that? Yes, absolutely.
So the interesting thing is, initially, Decisions is not an artificial intelligence platform by itself. We are all about orchestration and how we can actually send information in the right way so that the ChatGPT or those AI platforms can analyze and give you back. So the writing prompts is something that you can connect to other systems which would help you do that, or you can write your own prompts. But decisions can add more value, saying that you can analyze what type of results are you getting for those prompts and make your engine more intelligent, saying that, hey, with this prompt, you would see only 60% of the results are satisfactory. But now, next scenario, tomorrow, if you want to make a change with your prompt, you can now understand like what percentage is coming through and see the difference and make it more intelligent, training your bot to be more successful. That's where the power comes in and makes it more intelligent enough to bring your prompts to the next level from where they are currently at. That's where decisions adds value. And Danny, go ahead.
Yeah, that's awesome. Decisions is not a large language model, right? We don't come with any of that stuff, but we connect to all of them and give you ways to orchestrate the prompts back and forth to get the most meaningful results, and then be able to use those to get work done. Sandeep has a question. What kind of requirements can we gather or we can't with decisional, like functional, non-functional, technical UI requirements? I think really we can capture any requirements, right? Because we're going to be basing the data that we're gathering from the actual transcripts of the calls themselves. So as we're going through and talking about those different topics, that data is captured. Absolutely.
Right. Thanks, Danny. And you can classify or segment those data in case if you are trying to document it. So you can categorize using the rules engine, saying that, hey, these set of questions needs to be coming under functional, while these are non-functional questions that were being asked during the call. So you can play around with the prompts as well as using the rules engine and get those things done.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, another question. I am from the finance and accounting domain, specifically to P2P domain. How can I improve the productivity with the help of Gen AI? That's a really broad question, but we do a lot of work in the financial industry. A lot of our customers are in that space, from insurance companies to banks to mortgage lenders, you name it. The best way to get that question answered with a little bit more specificity is to schedule a demo with one of our sales engineers where we take you through and we can talk about how that specifically relates to your business. Let's see here. I think we've got a couple more. Great questions, everybody. This is really cool.
Would you mind me just taking them into the platform and then coming back to the questions,
Sure.
Danny, so that
Absolutely.
it might add more questions to the one which we have.
Cool.
So let me just navigate into the studio. So now this would just take me back into the world that I love to work on. So again, you can see we are in the designer studio. So everything in decisions is permissions driven. So do not worry. You can completely control the access to the level of users. Depending upon who is logged in, they can just navigate into those processes. And we have a lot of designer elements. If you're new to decisions, it's a workflow currently I am in, and this is all about no code. So I do not come from a coding background experience. So it was hard initially to understand the terminology of what the developers talk around. But working on decisions made my life more easier. Like it's all about drag and drop. Like let's say I wanted to create a process. For me, it's like in a plain English on the left-hand section, we have a visual designer, a steps toolbox that would allow me to send an email. Let's say I want to send an email to Danny. I don't need to write a code. I can simply drag and drop a step and customize my email in a regular way that I would like to do. And I can send these out to as many people as I want. Just an example. I know your use cases are much more complex, but I would like to just give you a highlight over here. But this is where that magic happened. When we triggered that process manually, we made a first call to the Salesforce as well as the Snowflake to get all the information related to the opportunities. And these icons that you see are not just icons, these are going to be reusable components. So for example, I can navigate into this and you can see I'm trying to fetch those opportunities and display that information to the users. So which means these are all connected processes with each other, and these can be reused. And this is where that answering back to one of the questions. So we do have different rule designers. So we are trying to say, based upon the metadata that is coming in, we do have rules engine that would filter out the information related to those particular calls that we are looking it to evaluate. And speaking around the other things, so here is something that we are trying to send information to OpenAI, create those prompts and analyze the data. That's what we are doing for each one of those. And once the data is returned, we are trying to put it in a structured format and create a document out of that and display it to the user and send it back to Salesforce as well as an email. So, and you can see there are exceptions. So coming back to one of the questions that we had, that's a great question around timeout errors, or it can be around those, you can just capture those as an exceptions or connect those paths accordingly. And speaking around those integrations with respect to OpenAI model, it would be available right under the toolbox category, which is integrations. OpenAI, I have already installed that, and here we go. Create a chat completion. This should have been the first one I should have picked instead of send email. I know. Being a non-coder, I use the simple ones initially. So there we go. Have the create chat completion, and you can just make a conversation by passing your message. And here is where you write your prompt. Select the type of model, maybe a 3.5 or 4, and you can make it more conversational. With that, I would just stop talking and see the next great questions that we have in the forum.
Sorry, I was muted there. I'm old. Sorry. There's a common theme that's popping up here in the forum, and everyone wants to know, can we use the outputs from this to create things like a requirements documentation, a requirements traceability matrix, user stories? Could we use the data that you've shown here to produce those outputs?
Absolutely, Danny, we can 100% do that. We tried to do the same thing in our previous webinar. In case if anyone have missed watching that, we did the same thing where we tried to get these requirements and try to create a requirement traceability matrix, which is going to be an Excel. So just now you have seen a PDF document being created inside decisions based upon the information that was coming through. So similarly, you can have an Excel file and have the information being created around those traceabilities, or maybe any other information. It can be a Word file, or it can be an Excel. You can create that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Very cool. So thank you guys so much for spending some time with us today. You can check out this webinar or any of our webinars pretty much back to the beginning of time. Go to decisions.com/videos. We have another webinar tomorrow, so please check that out if you have some time to make for us. Get our white paper. Sign up for a demo, though. That's really the most important thing. Being able to work with one of our sales engineers one-on-one to ask questions and see how the decisions platform might be able to help, build your brand, improve profitability, speed, and efficiency into your business without hiring an army of software engineers, right? So using people from inside the business to solve those problems is so valuable. They have the domain expertise of your business that's often lost in translation between custom application development or process automation and using that domain expertise to actually build those solutions.
Question in the chat
Oh,
from
yeah.
Harjeet Kohli. Hi, Kohli. Is it possible to get an algorithm to affiliate module in this with an e-com store? So just to get your question, is it more around like, do you have a custom modules that you want to use and connect with some type of applications?
Let's see here. Yes.
Okay, yes. Oh, 100%. We do offer an SDK kit. So you can create your own custom modules or native integrations and use those or implement those as a modules inside the module section and get connected to those.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I just wanted to add on. So it need not be a document. I know this was one of the questions. So you can post this information into different communication channels as well. May it be your Teams messages or Slack messages, or maybe send just a trigger message to a mobile phone of a sales rep saying that, hey, this call recording is available. Here are your next steps, which means like I don't miss a track of that. So you can absolutely do that as well.
Absolutely. Reach out to us if you'd like to get further information and have a one-on-one session with one of our sales engineers, one of our brilliant folks like Benicia. Hit us up at sales@decisions.com or just check out our website and sign up for a demo. That's really the best way. And don't forget, if you're J-Dub, I know you're in Florida, come and see us at our Submerse event in Miami, January 23rd through the 25th. We'd love to see you there. And be sure to tune in tomorrow, same time. Go and register for tomorrow's webinar. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for making time for us.